Thank you so much for staying with us. You're still watching the Day Break. My name is Idrissa Mwonge. So when I come back, we're going to be talking to a business person, a leader from Kasita, and that is Kampala Capital City Trade Association. But specifically, he coordinates those people who deal in garments. Now, last week on Tuesday, President Museveni made the traders at Kolo Airstrip, ceremonial grounds, to listen to their grievances. They got a chance to express themselves before him. However, they had their hopes quashed because among the things that they were telling him was to consider lifting IFRS. That is electronic, physical, receipting and invoicing solution. Something they feel is a thorn in their feet. Though the URA thinks otherwise because it is helping them to effectively collect tax. And also President Museveni apparently doesn't see a problem with it. The only problem that he thought was there was that it was not easy to purchase the machine. So he asked the URA to be considerate, not to force these people to buy these machines. They could also use phones and also have printers there. So President Museveni promised to meet them once again on 20th June, although they were not satisfied. They were left pessimistic that the old man with a heart, like he calls himself during elections, was going to work on their grievances. We now ask a question: what next for them if the president does not heed to their calls? In the studios today, I do have Mr. Mukasa Joseph. Like I said, he coordinates the Uganda United Attire Traders Association. That is UATA. Good to have you, sir.
Morning, viewers. My name is Mukasa Joseph, the coordinator of UATA, United Attire Traders Association, with Kasita, Uganda. I'm delighted to be part of the show.
It's a pleasure to have you, sir.
Welcome.
Bring us to speed. What transpired at Kololo Airstrip? The president used some words that are taken long to hear from him when he says, Momutisa Tisa, why so bitter to our president? He also hinted on you guys should love this country more than him because he's soon departing, for you're still young. What exactly transpired? For starters, somebody who was not there, he wants to know what transpired at Kololo Airstrip when you guys met the president.
Prior to the meeting we had with the president, we were invited in a meeting that took place at State House Entebbe to forge a way forward after having a stalemate. These issues have been escalating. There are a number of issues that have been behind the IFRS system that was brought on board because initially we were dealing with high values. We were dealing with the so-called Chinese investors who came as investors, but later on turned into economic imperialists. They came disguised.
Why are you guys so focused on Chinese? Yet they are not the only foreign investors we have. But every person I'm talking, they are talking about Chinese.
They are conducting their businesses differently from what we have been.
You never talk about the Indians who've been here since time immemorial. For them, they are not doing that. They are not engaged in hawking.
They are not as shrewd as the Chinese people.
Okay.
These people, I think, have been ushered in by people whose intentions are not known. They are doing some things, whether advertently or inadvertently, but they are affecting our community and the business people at large. When we were fighting tooth and nail to see that we bring them to order, they also fought back. Because initially...
How exactly different?
When we tried to kick them out of the shops they are occupying downtown here, because we have Chinese so-called investors who came as investors and it turned into something else.
Retailers.
Retailers, hawkers, wholesalers, and producers at the same time. They broke the chain of distribution. They are the manufacturers. They distribute these goods to themselves. They wholesale, retail, and hawk. So when we tried to kick them out of business, they also fought back.
Okay.
They went to the president and told him, you see,
we are being harassed?
No, they said we are hoodwinking the president, that we buy goods from China at a very high cost, and claim to be buying them cheaply. For example, we are signatories of WTO, and some of the methods, the primary method for valuation is the add value, invoice value. Each item you buy from, when you go to do your shopping, is when you are going to pay taxes, it is valued according to the add value or invoice value, the price it is given while purchasing it. So, for example, if you bought a phone at 1 million, that's the base value on which the taxes will be computed. Now, if you go to garments, for example, if you bought goods worth 10 millions or 100 millions, you will be supposed to pay 67% of the cost price of the goods purchased.
That's 6.7 million now, in this case.
Pardon?
If you use, going by your example of 10 million.
Yeah.
So somebody knows.
I'm referring to 100 million.
100 million.
Yeah, so 67% of 1 million, 100 millions is 67.5.
That's what I was talking about.
Yeah.
That's what you're subjected to as a tax?
Definitely. So they went and assured him that indeed we buy goods at a high price, and they claim to be buying them at a very low price. So they wanted us to pay more taxes so that they could sell their items, which they were,
It's the Chinese talking to the president now.
Yeah, they went to the president and they explained to him everything. So they claim to have gone to China, purchased a gin at $6.5. They presented an invoice to URA and told them that, you see, these people are claiming, because initially the value for a piece of gin was 1.75 at URA. When if you don't consider the add value method when in valuation, you see we have up to 6 methods of valuation. We have the add value, we have the identical method, we have the similar method, we have the computed method.
Those are technical words.
Yeah.
Take us through them.
Yeah, we have the identical method refers to a method where if you bought a phone like this, but you have not provided your invoice, and another person imported the same phone, they will use the same values for your phone to compute taxes, because these phones are identical. That is the identical method. Now, the similar method is when you buy different phones, but they are a bit similar. Identical means something that resembles exactly as this one. Same manufacturer, same make. Now, the similar method, they are a bit similar. They look alike. Now we go to the computed method. That one is inserted in a computer. After making a research, they come up with the values. Okay. Then there is a fallback method. They go to the shops, find out how much you sell. They deduct the taxes and the expenses until when they arrive at the cost of the product you bought. Now there is, I think, I'm interested in these 3 that are commonly used by URA.
Okay.
Now, they claimed to have bought a gin at $6.5. So they wanted URA to raise.
Chinese?
Pardon? Yeah. They wanted URA to raise the value of gins to 6.5. That would mean, literally, that the value of these gins was going to be raised 4 times from the initial price that we were paying. Now,
so when you speak like that's like you take about one item. But I've heard of this. I don't know what extent it's true. Good thing that you also deal in garments.
definitely.
That when they are going to tax these garments,
Yes, sir.
they measure them in kilograms.
I'm coming to that. Now, URA went on Google, searched, and found out that there is a gin that buys lower than the one that is claimed to have been bought by the Chinese. They came up with a figure of 4.5. So they applied 4.5. 1st January, with no prior communication.
Yes.
People were on planes going for their business business engagements. They received the messages. Some were at Bore International Airport. This is in Ethiopia. Some had just landed because Wi-Fi is everywhere.
What was the message saying?
The message said from 1st July today, it was communicated on that same day, January. The taxes on jeans are going to be raised. Jeans and khaki specifically, we are going to be raised from 1.75 to 4.5.
They acted basing on the information that was provided to them by the Chinese.
Definitely, because the Chinese had failed to sell their products. You see, in garments, fashion and designs.
But what the Chinese were saying, is it true or it's not true?
It is not true based on how businesses are operated. You see, when you pop in a shop to buy an item, your demeanor may determine a lot to somebody who is selling to you. Even the number of items you are buying from him.
Really?
Yeah, will determine the price.
How does it determine it?
The way you look also. If you're a fellow Chinese and you are buying from a fellow Chinese, he may sell to you at a different price. Yeah, at a different price, because he knows you might be up to something sinister. That is one. Okay. Now he might sell to you at a different price from which he sold it to somebody else, because you are taking one piece. So we needed also to look at the invoice which they claimed was for that gin that was bought by the Chinese people. So we didn't see that invoice. So,
but that sounds more of a Roma thing. How sure are you that it is the Chinese who approached URA and did all this? Do you have information? Do you have facts to back this?
No,
because being that you guys are in that quest, business quest, you may just imagine.
Those are not rumors. This message.
These guys tell you that the Chinese came here and gave us this information?
You see, it is the Commissioner General himself who communicated it to us.
Okay. That Chinese nationals approached me and they're the ones who gave me this information?
Yeah.
And so the URA does not have enough capacity to do due diligence, other than acting on the rumors, because the Chinese have their interests.
Definitely.
You say that you first, confronted them, and now they are getting back to you, paying you back by going to approach the guys of URA so that they can punish you that way by increasing taxes on the things that you deal in. So, but before the URA acts on what seems to be, rumors or some concocted information by Chinese, don't they have enough capacity to do due diligence, to send, their team, to dispatch their team like to China to establish, the real cost of this merchandise?
To me, I think these people are acting under duress. Why am I saying so? If you follow the footmarks of these people, you'll find out that they are the same people who are the factories in China. They came here under a gentleman who owns Tian Tian Group.
Okay.
This one is the owner of Mbale Industrial Park. He's the same person who was allocated Ruzira prison. Are you aware?
No, he's
of
going
that
to shift
event?
it, you know, establishing a new facility there.
So to me, I think they are acting under duress. Because there is no way a foreigner who disguises as an investor comes and puts people under duress in such a manner. Look at a scenario where somebody claims to be an investor. He comes and convinces people that I'm going to set up a factory. There is a difference between a factory and a workshop. They are two things, very different.
So these are established workshops and not...
Definitely. These are workshops at a large scale. His Excellency went to Mbala and visited those factories of theirs. They call factories, those workshops. Machines gathered in one place, sewing clothes.
But I heard him heap praise on them.
That's hogwash.
He was heaping praise on those people.
Yeah. The other day, last time when we visited State House, we were around 4 people to seek for a meeting with the general traders. When His Excellency was deliberating on the issue of Chinese, he was boasting how he has developed our country, how he has ensured that people get access to jobs and improve their livelihoods. I interjected unceremoniously.
You did?
Yeah, I did.
What did you tell him?
I told him, Your Excellency, you'll excuse me. I was boiling inside.
I hope you didn't interject him. You just waited him.
No, I interjected because I was
interjected
boiling.
on the
Yeah,
previous
yeah.
And he allowed you?
Yeah, he kept quiet because he knew I was up to something.
What did you say to him?
I told him, Your Excellency, I don't know whether this message you are delivering to us was told to you by somebody or it's your belief. He told me, why? Why are you saying this? I told him that, you see, Your Excellency, these people you are fronting and praising to be developing your country, because it began by trashing our ways of trade. We milk the economy. We use his dollars to purchase goods from outside. We are destroying the economy. I told him, Your Excellency, these people you are fronting are worse than us. He told me, how? I told him, no, look here.
Did they have representation at that meeting as well?
No, they were not represented. They went to report us to His Excellency. Now we are rebutting in their absence. We told him, you see, Your Excellency, I told him, these people are worse than us. He told me, how are they worse? I told him that these people are doing the exact thing that people at Ham Towers are doing. They import material like our friends at Ham are doing. They come here, make clothes, sell them. After selling, they repatriate the profits they get back to their countries without being taxed.
We have no policy about profit repatriation in this country? You're the ones who engage.
It is not there per se. Because even the minister for is it the Minister for Investment? Is it Anita?
Anita.
That's the Minister for
privatization.
Privatization. Among the information he relays to investors, he tells them that you come and invest in a country where you'll take back your profits without being taxed.
She says
Haven't you ever heard such?
That's why one of you, I saw him at Kololo speaking so ill of her. In fact, described her as a mufero or something. But Mr. Mukasa,
yes,
President Museveni's message has been clear to Ugandans and to you specifically, the business class.
Definitely.
The president abhors exportation, rather importation. He would want to see people like you who are buying, from abroad to start producing from here. That's his message. He says that he has, provided that environment that can enable production. But you guys have continued to engage in importing. Moreover, importing used cloth, such things, he hates them. And he also told you rather, that taxing you heavily is deliberate. He wants you to change direction, consider engaging in production. He asked a question. Do you see us here taxing exports? When we had just come out of the bush, we found when coffee was taxed, but we removed that tax. We don't tax things that are exported. So why don't you also change your ways? Why don't you have enough capacity, you have all the resources to engage in production? Why do you, want to continue taking our money outside? That's the president's message. Very clear enough, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a clear message, but I think the timing is bad. Yeah, because before improving on your infrastructure, before growing that cotton that will be turned into garments, you must be very careful. When you consider the number of the so-called factories he's claiming to have been given a chance to operate from here, you find out that they produce 3% of what is needed on the market. And we must invest we must invest in something where we have a comparative and a competitive advantage. Because if you don't have cotton, how are you going to make the garments?
Start by establishing cotton plantations. Don't we have enough land in the country? That's the president speaking.
Yeah, but the president is misinformed by his advisors because he expects somebody to grow cotton, process it into garments. That is not possible. He must ensure that the cotton growing is available. People are growing cotton, and there are resources that can be accessed through banks to support us, the people he wants to deal in those factories. The funds are not there.
They're not there?
No, they are not there. He said it last time when he was in Kenya. He said the funds are not there. They are supposed to come from UDP.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Remember, during COVID-19, President Museveni said how we have a lot of money in UDP for you guys.
It is not there.
They even put there a special recovery fund for you. This is how much the president likes you guys.
We didn't get a coin.
Oh.
Yeah.
Was this COVID recovery fund? You didn't access this money, really?
No.
For SMEs and what?
No, we are even subjected to paying rent from promises. We had rented to do business, but we didn't do any business. People paid up to 5 months without working. How do you expect such businesses to recover? We have not even recovered from the effects of COVID-19. Now we are slapped with the high taxes. We are slapped with...
Wait, were these empty promises? The president was very clear on this. And if money was put in place for you guys and you didn't get it, how come you never came out to complain? Who takes this money then?
To whom
Especially that recovery fund. That,
to
the
whom
president
should
was
we
talking
complain?
about. You even get a chance to talk to the president of
We
Uganda?
told him.
What did he say? What was his reaction?
He said the money is not available. Even when he was in Kenya last time, he kept hinting on that the money that is supposed to run, to be borrowed to make those factories is not available. He went on further and said that the money that is available is in commercial banks, and it can only help these people who import goods, and he doesn't want importation.
It's the president saying he doesn't.
It is not there.
He's more interested.
It is not
just
there.
To see
the money that is available is from commercial banks. And you cannot make a factory after getting money from commercial banks. The rates are too high. Yeah, that's the main issue. So now, fast forward. His Excellency is so obsessed with factories, but at a wrong time. You see, even when we were at State House recently, he kept blaming people for importing used garments.
Yes.
Yeah, he was so bitter with the importers of used garments. He told them, now I need to know how many jobs are created by somebody who brings in used garments. He even referred to them as dead people's clothes, as if everybody, I mean, as if every garment that is imported and
He also
used.
ought to ask himself this question: how many people can afford to buy brand new clothes in his country?
I didn't get that
He
chance.
needs to know. I mean, every time I ask him.
I didn't get that chance of
against this, but he needs to know, especially where a very big percentage of the people is ruling survive under $1. How many people can afford to buy a brand new shirt?
That's the very question I wanted to ask him, but I didn't get a chance of asking him that question because the person.
But let's first take a break, Mr. Mukasa. Then when we come back, we shall continue, discussing much and more of those issues. And also, you're also going to be telling us what you're going to do next when the president meets you again on 20th June. The day break continues after this break. Please do not go away. Be right back shortly.
Abakyala, bamaama, abaana ab'obuwala, amanya gange nze Queen Helen Butayi. Ku lw'obuweereza bw'abakyala, njagala okujjukiza nti olukuŋŋaana lwaffe olw'amaanyi g'omukyala Power of a Virtuous Woman Arise Conference lutuuse. Lugenda kubeerawo ennaku z'omwezi nga lumu omwezi ogw'omukaaga ku kisaawe e Namuŋŋoona ssaawa 5 ez'okumakya. Tugenda kubeera n'ekigambo kya Katonda n'okusaba. Njagala kukusaba oyaniriza omukyala omulala n'abaana baffe ab'obuwala okuva ku myaka 10 okutuuka waggulu, okuyingira kwa bwereere n'ekyemisana weekiri. Omutwe oba omulamwa gw'olunaku gugamba nti oli kyamuwendo mu mikono gy'omubumbi. Mukama akuwa omukisa, jjukira tewatondebwa ng'oli mwereere.
Tukwaniriza ku Spurs Tours and Travel. Oyagala visa oba bagikuma, jangu tugikugobereko. Okukosa ne passport, tukugobera ne air ticket bwe yandigyetaaze. Tukufunira emirimu mu Uganda ne Canada. Tulambuza abakyakalira mu nsi z'ebweru ne mu Uganda ne tubabuukingira nawo okusula. Tuyina emmotoka ezirambuza ez'emikolo ng'embaga n'eziwerekera abakungu. Tupikinga n'abandyetaaze okutambuza okuva ku airport. Tusange ku Access Building, Rubaga Road, Level 1, Room 515.
So much for staying with us. You're still watching the Daybreak with me, Idrissa Muwonge. I'm still here with Mr. Mukasa Joseph. He's the coordinator of Uganda
United Attire Traders Association with Kasita, Uganda.
Okay. So we are still talking about your meeting with the president, and now we're so much interested in what you're going to do next. This is a man we saw when he was speaking to you at Collier Strip. He was not ready to listen. Okay, he was ready to listen to you, but we didn't see him as somebody who's going to heed to your calls, to listen to your cries. And I know you saw you knew. That's why some of you started walking out when he was still speaking. Others were heckling. I had one of you guys, I think it's from a different association. He's from Futa. You know him, the president. And I had him last week, and he was saying that they are going to stage a 2-month protest. They're going to shut down their businesses for a period of 2 months. So people should even consider, purchasing food because for them, they won't be open for that long. Now, from the Kasita's perspective, what are you going to do next when you realize that the president is not ready to heed to your calls? What are you doing next?
Industrial action is imminent and inevitable at the same time, if you want to survive. Because if you don't heed to the pressure and close your shops, they will close your shop. Yeah, the tax collector will close your shop. If you don't close yourself, the tax collector will come and close it. Because as you speak now, very many people have succumbed to the pressure and run away. For example, we have a group of people who migrated from here and went to Kenya. One of them is a friend of mine, it's called Ramadan. And we went with a...
Let me ask you this question, Mr. Mukasa. In fact, I need to point it out to you. The business class, people who are involved in business, you continue to cry over this heavy taxation word. But you guys are very wealthy. You're rich. You're the richest class in this class. You're cruising expensive vehicles. You're erecting mansions. We see them. In fact, people say, if you want to be wealthy, engage in business.
No,
it's a class
not at this
to the extent that you don't even want to associate with politicians.
Not
Best you were saying the other day, I've been fighting and you guys have been chasing me. In fact, you politicians lately, only that they don't come out to tell you guys in open, but for us they tell us when we host them. That here, you create your own island. You isolate yourselves. You don't want them to get to you. You're like, don't bring your politics here. So now that you've started facing these problems, you want them to represent you, talk about the things. This is what the politicians are saying, that you drew that line between you and them. You're always there in your comfortable zone. So as you continue to lament about this heavy taxation, but you guys are really progressing. You're doing well.
How do you determine somebody who is progressing at this time? Anyone who tells you at this time that he's doing well, he must be stealing other people's property, all goods. If
among you, there are people who evade taxes. I had the taxes right here.
But not me.
You don't pay taxes.
Not me and my group.
Not you, but now. In fact, someone was arguing here that, look, these guys, when they are shown that they are crying, they are just, you know, they are hypocrites because they are the people who evade taxes. They are not like us civil servants who are subjected to pay. For us, there's no way we can dodge, you know, that tax. But for you guys, you have learned all the tricks on how you can dodge these taxes. And that's why you're actually doing well, faring well.
Actually, I was coming to that issue of pay also. Uganda's tax regime is one of the worst in the world. For example, you have hinted on a very pertinent issue of pay. Are you aware that somebody who gets a salary of 235 is the only person below 235,000 is the only person that does not pay pay? Are you aware? But if it goes to 235 and 1 shilling, you are subjected to pay of 10%, which is 23,005. Is it 23,500? Are you aware?
I know.
Are you aware that in Kenya, a person who is subjected to pay is a person who receives over 700,000? And in TZ, it is 500,000 in Uganda shillings.
So what's your point?
My point, His Excellency was trying to tell us that, you see, we are building factories. But those factories are going to sell those items to we, the citizens. How many people are going to afford
To purchase
purchasing those items if they are taxed up to that level? And fast forward, when he mentioned about the issue of dead people's clothes, I went back to
like
his
he calls
book.
them.
Yeah, I have a copy of his book on my phone. There is an app his book is online. I went and visited page 89 when he was in TZ, the village I don't still remember. He said, we spent over 6 months without power. And when it returned, Mose rejoiced and jumped up after seeing light. I was going to tell him that, don't you think, Your Excellency, at that point you needed also that shirt of 1,000 shillings? Are you aware that there are shirts of 1,000 shillings and below?
500, go to innocent.
Definitely. Who is going to buy from these factories? I told him when we were at State House that, you see, you are promoting these factories. It's good. They can come as many as possible. But what should be their target? They should target.
And another concern, maybe the president also needs to know. Also the standard of these goods that are produced here.
Definitely.
Some of them are substandard.
They are substandard.
Their longevity is questionable.
When we brought that issue, he said, no, if they are substandard, with the time these people will improve. But he talked
You pointed out that to him?
Definitely, and he told us that they will improve, as if he was defending his own factories. He reached an extent of telling us last time.
Because the same people, the countries where they come from, they don't produce the same goods.
Definitely.
They produce goods, but of a higher standard, a better standard. Why is that when they're producing from here, then they're producing substandard?
You see, when you want to meet the operation, you must be very careful when you are dealing with fashion and designs. That's what I told him also. That these people didn't know what they had come to do. With fashion and designs, you don't make stock. You are given orders from your customers. They tell you, I need this suit. Make 1,000 pieces. You make. You are sure this person is going to take those goods. Now that they are making piles and piles of jeans and khakis without any order. They stocked a lot of jeans and khakis without customers. So
is that why they end up hawking them?
Yeah, that's how they. With fashion and designs, they will ask you for a new design every after a week. That's how they ran out of business. Right now, I hear that they have started dealing in other items also. Now, where will this stop? After coming as people who are going to manufacture jeans and khaki, they have now shifted to other items because this one is not viable and they are not getting any profit out of it. Now, the issue of goods that are measured in kilos, again, that issue is because of these people. Government decided to impose a tax of 35% or 3.5% on garments, or $3 on textiles, because they are trying to protect factories that are non-existent.
Seriously?
Definitely. Because they chose a mode of development for our country as Bubu. Buy Uganda.
Build Uganda.
Build Uganda. It would have been a very nice incentive if it was done at the right time. But as we speak now, businesses are struggling. You saw some time back, Mr. Kasaija went to Parliament seeking for a waiver of 3.5 billion that was used in power by NITIL. Were you aware of that? NITIL failed to pay for power worth 3.5 billion.
So owns NITIL?
I'm not aware.
Not the Uganda government?
I'm not aware also.
Isn't that our factory?
Now, if a factory cannot pay for bills, how do you...
Nyanza Textile Industries Limited.
Yeah, how do you expect it to make profit? How do you expect it to meet economies of scale? Because businesses operate on economies of scale. Now, when you also hinted on the issue of His Excellency, when you said, what are we going to do next if he keeps
Yes,
adamant?
because his final verdict, I think, will come on 20th June. Is that it when he promised to meet you again?
Definitely.
What are your expectations? Because your calls, your demands are clear. You're asking him to lift EFRIS. Or you change your mind on that?
No, we don't have any change.
Then you're also complaining of heavy taxation.
Yeah, and the threshold also.
He told you why about taxation that he's doing it deliberately. Mr.
Definitely.
Mukasa, consider starting your own factory here. If you want land, the government can allocate you land, can't they? If you want a tax holiday, they can allocate you one, can't they?
They can, but under what circumstances?
I wanted also to learn. These are incentives given to foreign investors. The tax holiday, that long, 10 years, free land. Can you access the same incentives if you wanted to establish a factory here? How easy is it for you?
Do you know how many factories have closed?
Tell me
Real
about it.
factories. We are now dealing with the workshops. People are coming in with the factories. Do you know how many factories have closed since 2023? 2023 alone, 4,200 factories closed.
Owned by locals?
Definitely, both local and foreign.
What would be the reason for their closure?
The cost of production for their goods and high taxes. Ambia Swaraj is soon closing. Romi's wine is closed a long time ago. We had Sweps in Masaka closed. We have butter. Do you know of any factory owned by butter here? They are just outlets. And this tax, the VAT tax, the accrual VAT that increases the price of a commodity at every stage where a transaction is made is going to make it worse. How? USA had a fiscal deficit of 1.6 trillions. They thought of introducing a VAT of 5% on all commodities. They made a research using professional people and universities. They found out that in a period of 1 year, 850 companies were going to close. They were solving a fiscal deficit of 1.6 trillions. They found out that in 10 years, consumer levels were going to drop by 2.5 trillions. They again found out that it was going to cause inflation. They abandoned the case, the tax. It was only 5%. Here we are dealing with a tax of 18%. How are you going to survive in that environment? A fiscal deficit of 1.6 was going to slow down the consumer levels, and they would lose up to 2.6 trillions. They abandoned it.
There's this thing you have as your DP here.
Yeah.
You're saying that it was initiated by Winston Churchill?
Definitely.
Where he says that for a nation to try to tax itself into prosperity is like a man standing on a bucket and trying to lift himself up by the handle. But the advanced countries of the world, have they not developed like on the money that they get from their citizens as tax?
You see, development and growth.
Isn't taxation one of the biggest, sources of revenue to any country?
There is a difference between development and growth. You can develop without growing. Are you aware of that? You can grow ears, but you can't develop. You cannot increase your height, but you are growing ears and growing hair. That's not growth. They are two different issues.
Let's use that example about a nation.
If you try to tax yourself into prosperity, I want to juxtapose this to a scenario where we met the Committee of Finance and Trade. Mr. Kateshumba told us a scenario where, after realizing that they were harvesting a lot from hides and skins, they were collecting 3.5 billions a month from hides and skins. Government thought it was a good catchment area. They increased the taxes. Do you know what they got? He told us he warned them earlier and told them what you are doing is not good. Do you know what they got?
I don't know.
The next month, they collected 500 millions, down from 3.5 billions. That's the problem with high taxation. He revealed it himself. He was
what happened? The people who are
we have porous borders. We have porous borders.
Okay, smuggling.
They began smuggling. As we speak now, after subjecting 47 items to valuation in kilograms, when you go to the database of URA, it shows nothing has been imported ever since that tax was introduced. But do you know?
Yet we have merchandise entering the country. It shows that nothing has been imported.
Definitely. But the items are
they are coming
in billions. The time when they were very strict, they impounded goods worth 1.6 billions of those garments.
Oh.
But in the database, it shows nothing. The type of T-shirt I'm putting on cannot be manufactured here due to its fabric content. Nobody has this fabric here, this material here. Even the president himself said it when we were at State House. He said, you see the shirt I'm putting on, it has 90% cotton, but they import some polyester to add in. You are also importing to make your shirt.
Yeah, he said actually doesn't have a problem with you guys importing the raw material. There he has no problem.
He has no problem.
Yes, when you're importing the raw material to make the final product here, he has no problem with it. And that's why he said, that's why they are not taxed. The raw materials, pharmaceutical, items.
Unless when you want to divorce yourself from WTO, in which we are signatories, because WTO deals with international trade. We had AGOA recently. He was
You mean the World Trade Organization?
Pardon?
You mean the World Trade Organization?
Yeah, World Trade Organization. We are signatories, and we are members. And we use the same method for valuation for everything. WTO deals with the international trade. So you don't want to buy from, you don't want people to import, but you want to sell finished goods also to other countries. That's being ridiculous.
Our time is fast spent. We have to get out of here. But before we do, please sum it up by telling us when the president comes and speaks to your, against your hopes, your expectations, come 20th June, what is the next step you're taking? He has traders of Uganda, Kampala specifically.
Not Kampala specifically. It cuts across.
Kasite, based in Uganda. Did you spread your wings now?
Definitely. The other day when we closed, we don't close Kampala alone. Masaka closed, Mpigi closed, Jinja closed, Mbarara was yet to close until when
they said that you guys didn't coordinate well, that's why they...
Yeah, there was no coordination prior to the to the strike, to the sit down. It is not a strike.
Tell us, what should we expect now? The people there are waiting to see about
if the president does not heed to our calls, it will be inevitable. People will close their shops, and they are ready to close even for more than 2 months you had earlier mentioned.
Who will lose ultimately when you close?
No. If you don't close now, let's take an example. If you have 100 million right now, and somebody takes 18% of that money every month, For how long do you think you are going to sustain that? Will your business survive?
But maybe you, Mr. Mukasa, maybe you can shut down your business for like a month.
Not only one.
But I know some people here, and you know the biggest percentage of our population. They just survive on what they get, you know, on a daily. And you know those people, they're part of the association. They're not so rich, but they're engaged in business. And you expect such a person that is going to follow you. When you declare that sit-down strike of like a month or even a week, are they going to follow you? Before you can sustain yourself and your people, you can still live without even working for like maybe a month. But these people here, are they going to hit your call if you call them to stage a protest of 2 months by shutting down their businesses? Or even another 1 week?
You see, there is something funny with URA. When it's dealing with taxpayers, it tells us that, you see, you are not the bearers of the burden. You extend the burden to the final consumer, and it's the person paying the taxes. Now, when it comes to the person paying, when it comes to us, it tells us that, you see, the file we have for people registered for VAT, we have 33,000. Now, who pays this tax? Because when it comes to consumers, it tells us that these people they are the people who are supposed to bear the burden. When it comes to us, it tells us, you see, we want to increase the tax base. We have very few people who are registered for VAT. Only 33,000. We cannot reduce this. Are you aware that if you can make sales, if you have 1 million shillings as your working capital, and you can sell goods worth 420,000, you automatically registered for VAT? Are you aware? And do you know the cost of a bag of sugar? It is 200,000. Its profit is 2,000. But the taxman is telling you, you levy 18% from the person you are selling that bag of sugar. And you levy that tax after adding your profit, adding all your expenses. Now look at the scenario of this parking yard I've been telling you. We've been paying 5,000. They are now subjected to VAT also.
Oh.
It has been increased to 6,000. People are going to leave their cars at home. Somebody has been using 4 liters. And
the fuel industry will be affected if they
definitely
start to cross.
Now look at this person.
Yes.
He had this parking lot
as you wind up
from somebody. His profit has been 1,000 daily from each car. Now he's subjected to VAT. Now me, the person who is bearing the burden, I'm paying a tax for these two who earned from me. Is that being fair?
No way.
So everyone is concerned. I mean involved in this scenario.
Let's get out of here. Your parting shots.
Our viewers out there, I wish to tell you that this issue is not only about importers, about Kampala. It cuts across. Everyone should be part of this. If you don't close your shop, the taxman will close it for you.
Oh, thank you so much, Mr. Mukasa Joseph, there for you. Thank you so much, our dear viewers who've moved with us. Since 7:30, we've come to the end of this edition of the Day Break. My name is Idrissa Muwonge. I'll be back here tomorrow, inshallah. May the good Lord continue protecting you and blessing you. From me and the team, we wish you a blessed day. See you then. Goodbye for now.